Hello, humans, and welcome to another episode of Gen X Gamer. Hey, if the console costs $1,000, are you going to start pirating, pirating games, downloading torrents? What are you going to do? All right, let me tell you something. There's a lot of people that love games out there, but do you see yourself? I don't know, paying $1,000 for a console just so you can play the brand new Kojima game? I love Kojima, right? But I can't see myself paying that. I'll wait till it comes out on PC. And if there's other methods, right? If there's other black magic methods out there that could, you know, take a sample, probably, a lot of people are going to be tempted, but more than that, guys, let me tell you, I think that a lot of it is going to go to the mobile game market because that's the biggest growth market out there, and you already spent $1,000, $1,500 on a phone. Are you going to go out there and spend another $1,000 on a console? I'm not saying that they're not going to sell, but it's not going to be the same impact as what you've had in the past. Look at the Nintendo Switch 2, right? Forget about the Nintendo Switch 1 for a moment. That is a cheaper console. But if we just had to say today, um, you know, your choice between the three, the cheapest way to go would be the Switch 2. And that's probably going to be the case when they start the next generation of consoles, and which is the 10th generation, which I think would bring the end to the console industry at $1,000. That experience is just too much. It's just too much money when you have to finance, when you have to make payments, when they're telling you things like that. I mean, is that an option for the everyday Joe? You know how what they're doing, they're not realizing what they're doing. They're taking away these games away from children, which are going to be, the ones that are going to be playing your games for years. And on top of that, the games that they make, when they make these games, let's say you start being a fan of a game today. Before you see the sequel, it could be 3, 4, 5, 8, 10 years. Imagine if you start, playing a game in college in your freshman year, and by the time the sequel comes out, you just got married. Are you going to have the same amount of time? Are you still going to go buy the game? Married life, it's a lot of fun, but time management is of the essence because you're not going to have as much, right? But just in general, the development time of these games, the the heights that they're going to as far as budgets, 200, 300, 400 million dollars, it's crazy. It really is crazy. And of course, you have to pay for it. Now they've made the decisions that all this is going to be paid by the consumers up front in the console, right? They're not willing to lose money on the hardware anymore as they used to in the past, right? That's a thing of the past. What they have to do now is put you in financing, put you in a payment plan. Not me. I'm not paying $1,000 for a console. I don't care what it does. Unless it's a robot that's going to cook and clean and do the laundry. No, it's a no for me because there's much better forms of entertainment that provide much more value, right? You're not going to tell me that the Xbox, Helix or whatever it is going to produce more value than if you buy 5 retro consoles at $200, right? Or if you buy, a Switch and a couple of other consoles, right? The M64 is going to be a great console, right? The Neo Geo is popular out there. I mean, that alone right there, that announcement of $800, how many um, people just decided, hey, you know what? I'm not going to do that. And then you put in Steam that wants, $1,000 for the basic, $1,400 for the premium experience. And of course, PlayStation 6 is going to follow the same route. So what is the benefit to you, the consumer? It's nothing. You just pay higher prices. That's a benefit. And hopefully you like the game that they come out. It doesn't mean that you're going to like it. You just hopefully you like it, but there's no guarantee. And that's why people turn to retro games, because retro games, you know what you're getting already. You know what experience you're getting. It's a higher quality game. It's sad to say, but many of the retro titles that we love them because they're of higher quality. Games are coming out today incomplete, right? They don't even give you the full game. They expect you to pay extra for the full experience when you don't have that in retro, right? Yeah, it's not going to last 50, 60, 70 hours, but you know, it's going to be a good experience, right? You're not going to experience any of the stuff that you're not going to get a download of an update that's, more than the game that was delivered to you on disc. I mean, those kind of things. And that is going to push the market, right? It's going to push the market to look for alternatives. And what is the alternative that we've seen in the past? We've seen it, right? Remember the PlayStation days where prices started to climb, and people started putting those boot discs in and started burning CDs, and going into emulation, the starts of emulation, all that. People prefer to pay for their things. I think consumers of video games love to have original hardware. They love to have original games, unless it becomes cost prohibitive, right? And if you're talking about $1,000 plus a game, can you just imagine? You want to buy a particular game, and you go in there and you're paying $1,000 for the game. If you want, I'm sorry, for the console. If you want the full game, it's not $80, it's $120, $100, right? So now you're $1,100 in to play a single game with one controller, if you're lucky, right? Because they're going to take that away too. You know that they're going to do that at some point, right? So what is the future of console gaming? Do you think people are going to be running? They're going to be lining up to pay $1,000 for a console that is just really just a computer, and you can put that computer together yourself, probably better, cheaper, and faster. You could probably get a deal. You could get a used one that could perform the same way. So, I mean, just the whole direction that this is going, man, I don't like it. I don't like it for the consumer. For me, I mean, I'm not the target audience anymore. We ceased to be the target audience for these games a long time ago. And you're going to see that in the marketing, right? You're going to see that in the games that they release. You're going to see it everywhere except in the games, right? Because you're going to get games that are few and far between that we like, that we love to play. You're going to see more games with more microtransactions, with more memberships, right? And it's crazy, right? Imagine walking up to the 10th generation going, okay, I got to pay $1,000 for the console. I got to pay $200 to be a member of whatever the hell online, thing that I need to be in, with the service included of the monthly, whatever it is. And now I got to pay for the game $100. I mean, it is insane. Who is going to pay that? Not me. You know what's going to happen? LimeWire is going to come back. You know what's going to happen? The Pirate Bay is going to come back. But what's not coming back is the customers that were paying you money because you priced them out of the market, you greedy bastards. All right, humans, I will catch you on the next one. Take care.